Hey, good morning. Today is Tuesday, April 28th. We're going to get ready for our Tuesday, Thursday language arts instruction on Instagram Live. Waiting for some students to join in. Some students will get question waves back. Hey. Students are joining in. We're just waving. A few more seconds before we get started. Okay, today is Tuesday, April 28th. We're going to go ahead and get started with our Tuesday, Thursday ELA Instagram Live instruction. I want to thank all the students. People coming in waving. I want to thank all the students for logging in and joining and participating in our Tuesday, Thursday ELA Instagram Live instruction. Good morning. Students, make sure you also are following Ms. Twyman on Instagram Live and logging into her Monday and Wednesday 10 o'clock math instruction on Instagram Live. Students, please, please, please encourage your classmates to follow Ms. Twyman and myself on Instagram Live and follow us and join in our Instagram Live lessons with ELA on Tuesday and Thursday at 10 o'clock. Math instruction with Ms. Twyman on Monday and Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Give a few more seconds for students to join in. So our student just sent a message. Don't worry if you don't have any paper. Student just joined in. Glad you're back. We've been trying to contact you. Student who just joined in. We're glad you're back. We've been trying to contact you. I want you to DM me and send me a direct message. I'm going to send you one. I need to have a conversation with you. Okay, so students, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to, after a read aloud of a text, define, compare, and contrast, then use a graphic organizer, which is called the Venn Diagram, to compare and contrast the text. Good morning. This lesson is connected with the Common Core State Standard, ELA RI 6.4, which states, compare and contrast the most important points and key details presented in two texts on the same topic. Good morning, good morning. Students are saying good morning. Good morning, students. Students, remember, if you change your Instagram name, you can direct message Miss Green or Miss Hardy your new name and your current name. Don't send it on the post, on the live post. send it to a direct message so we can update your grades and your live school points. These are the notes from last week as a quick review. Students, remember, you can always log into my Instagram live feed for 24 hours after the lesson end to take notes, review the information, send a direct message to myself, Miss Hardy or Miss Green, if you have any questions about the lesson. Compare and contrast, same and different. Compare. I'm gonna catch you up now. I said students send a message saying catch you up. I'm gonna catch you up right now. Thanks for the message. Compare. Tell what is the same about two or more things. When you compare, you tell how two or more things are alike, how they are similar, how they are alike. So when you hear me say compare in the lessons, you know I'm talking about tell what is the same about two or more things. So now we're going to compare oranges and bananas. Just looking at them, you can tell that they're different just by looking at them. So then when we compare, we tell how they are alike. You can eat both of them. You know, we eat oranges, we eat bananas. So that's one way they compare, that they are alike, that they are the same, that we can eat both of them. Okay? Oranges and bananas, they are both fruits. Orange is a fruit, banana is a fruit. That's how they're alike. And how they compare is you have to peel both of them. You peel the outer layer of the orange, you peel the banana. So that's how the oranges and bananas compare, how they are alike, how they are similar. Contrast. Thanks for joining in, student who just joined in. Students, remember, you can direct message Miss Hardy or Miss Green. If you change your Instagram name, direct message Miss Hardy, Miss Green, so you can get credit for participation and for live school points. Let's go on. We're talking about contrast. The definition of contrast tells what is different about two or more things. Contrast tells what is different about two or more things. When we contrast or tell what's different about oranges and bananas, we tell how they are different. Oranges are orange. To contrast how they're different, bananas are yellow. When we contrast oranges and bananas, oranges are round. Bananas are long. That's how they're different. Oranges and bananas. Oranges have seeds. Bananas do not have seeds. That's how they're different, how they contrast, how they are not alike. I'll leave this for a few seconds for students who are taking notes. Students said they can't see. Hope that's a little better. For students said they can't see. Hope that's a little better. The Venn diagram, that's the graphic organizer that we use when we compare and contrast. It is a great way to organize your thoughts when you are comparing and contrasting two things. In the middle, we put how the two objects are alike, or how the two objects are the same, goes in the middle. And I'll show a Venn diagram in a second. On the sides, you put how the objects are different. I'll wait a few seconds for students who are taking notes. Organizing your Venn diagram. When you organize your Venn diagram, or some students refer to it as the double bubble, the middle of the Venn diagram, that's where you put the things that are the same. Or when you compare, you use the middle of the Venn diagram or the double bubble. When you contrast, tell how things are different, you use the outside of the double bubble. Okay, a student want me to go back. Okay, I'll go back. There you go. We have a student that's taking notes. Students, remember, you can always log back into the Instagram live feed. Once we finish, it'll be posted for 24 hours. Or if you have a question, you can direct message myself, Ms. Green, or Ms. Hardy. I'll give a few more seconds for students to finish taking notes on the screen. Okay, let's continue. This screen here is organizing your Venn diagram. When you use the Venn diagram or the double bubble, You use the Venn diagram. I thank you for letting me know you're done. Use the Venn diagram or the double bubble when you compare and contrast. The middle or the overlapping or the inside of the double bubble is where you put the information that compare, which means it is the same for both objects or both things that you are comparing and contrasting. The middle part of the double bubble is where the items that are alike or the same go. The outside of the double bubble is where you contrast or tell what is different about the two objects that you are comparing and contrasting. I'll give a few seconds for students to take notes. What can we compare and contrast? We can compare and contrast books, people, objects, animals, places, music, events, review. Compare is equal to saying the same or similar. Contrast is how they're different. Organize ideas using a Venn diagram. So students, this is a text. We're going to compare and contrast this text using the Venn diagram. We're going to use a Venn diagram to compare and contrast this text. So we're going to read to find out what we actually are comparing and contrasting. The title says hot deserts and cold deserts. So we already have our two items that we are comparing, hot deserts and cold deserts. When we compare and contrast, we're going to tell from this text how hot deserts and cold deserts are alike, which is compare, and how hot deserts and cold deserts are different, how they contrast. Okay, so let's read the text. Deserts are very, very dry places. They are found in many parts of the world. Deserts are not all the same. The Sahara and the Gobi are two deserts. So now our title says hot deserts and cold deserts. So now we have the names of two deserts that we can compare and contrast using the Venn diagram. So on a piece of paper, I'll just draw my double bubbles, and I use soup cans to make the bottoms of my double bubbles. And I just draw two circles on a piece of paper. If I don't have a Venn diagram, I drew two circles on a piece of paper, and I overlap the circles. This area is to contrast. This area in the middle is where we're going to compare. And from the text so far, we found that we were going to compare and contrast a hot desert and a cold desert. But as we started reading, we realized the names of our deserts are the Sahara Desert, and the Gobi Desert. So to organize our thoughts on the Venn diagram, as you can see on the top of the Venn diagram, I wrote Sahara Desert on one side and the Gobi Desert on the other side. So now, by using my Venn diagram, I know I'm going to compare and contrast the Sahara Desert and the Gobi Desert. So let's read. And as we read, we want to determine how they compare and how they contrast. The Sahara and the Gobi are two deserts. Summers in the Sahara are windy and hot. Winters there are cool. The there they're talking about is the Sahara. So now we know that summers in the Sahara are windy and hot, but winters in the Sahara are cool. Let's continue reading. In the Gobi, summers are warm and winters are windy and very cold. So far we know that both deserts, they compare because they both have summers and they both have winters. So on the Venn diagram, on the part that's the same, we can write so on my Venn diagram, in the middle part, I wrote summers and winters because from the text, we know that the Sahara has a summer, the Gobi has a summer, the Sahara has a winter, and the Gobi has a winter. So that's how they compare. The Sahara has a summer, the Gobi has a summer, the Sahara has a winter, and the Gobi has a winter. But as we read, it said in the Sahara, summers in the Sahara are hot, are windy and hot. Summers in the Gobi are warm. So on my Venn diagram, I would contrast or tell how they're different. So summers in the Sahara are windy and hot. So on my Venn diagram, on the side with the Sahara that contrasts from the Gobi, I'll use the outer side of my Venn diagram or double bubble. I'll write windy and hot because the text said that summers in the Sahara are windy and hot. Now let's go look at summers in the Gobi. Summers are warm in the Gobi. So on the Venn diagram under the Gobi, I'll write warm. And I'll leave this up for a second for the student who's taking notes to take some notes. Remember, my answers came directly from the text. Your answers are going to be text dependent. Okay. Let's go back to the text. Winters there are cool. They're talking about winters in the Sahara are cool. And they're talking about in the Gobi, winters are windy and very cold. So I'll go back to the Venn diagram, and under the Sahara for winters, I'll write cool. So on my Venn diagram, on the side with the Sahara, when I'm talking about winters, I'll write cool. In the Gobi, the text says that winters are windy and very cold. So back to the Venn diagram, on the winters for the Gobi, I wrote windy and very cold. I'll leave this projected so the students can take notes. So students, from those few sentences we read, we can do a quick summary using our Venn diagram to compare and contrast. We know we're comparing and contrasting the Sahara and the Gobi. We know that they are the same because they both have summers and winters, but they contrast, they're different. Summers in the Sahara are windy and hot, but summers in the Gobi are warm. Winters in the Sahara are cool, but winters in the Gobi are windy and very cold. This information came directly from the text. Let's keep reading. Few plants grow in the Gobi. In contrast, grasses, bushes, and trees grow in parts of the Sahara. So as we read, we saw the word contrast, which means different, not alike. So now we're talking about plants. It say few plants grow in the Gobi. In contrast, grasses, bushes, and trees grow in parts of the Sahara. So we go back to our Venn diagram, and where it says the same, we can write the word plants. In the double bubble, I wrote the word plants because the text said the Gobi had few plants, but the Sahara had plants. So we know they both have plants. So I'll put that in the middle of the double bubble, how they compare, or how they are like. They both, the Sahara and the Gobi, have plants. Let's continue reading. Few plants grow in the Gobi. In contrast, grasses, bushes, and trees grow in parts of the Sahara. So I would go back to my Venn diagram. On the Sahara, I know the text says grasses, bushes, and trees. So I would write that on my Venn diagram on the side of Sahara. So on my Venn diagram, on the side of the Sahara, the text said that the Sahara had grasses, bushes, and trees. In contrast, grasses, bushes, and trees grow in parts of the Sahara. And I know that in the Gobi, few plants grow in the Gobi. So on the Venn diagram, on the side of the Gobi, when we're talking about plants, I wrote few plants because it says only a few plants grow in the Gobi. So that's what I wrote, few plants. They both have plants, so I wrote it in the middle of the Venn diagram, which states how they compare, how they are the same. But on the Sahara, the text said that grasses, bushes, and trees grow in the Sahara, but only few plants grow in the Gobi. So this is how your Venn diagram would look, and I'll project it for a few seconds for students who are taking notes. Students, remember, you can log back into the Instagram live feed, review the notes, and you can also take notes from the Venn diagrams that I project. Let's continue reading the text. The longest river in the world flows through the Sahara. Almost all the water in the Gobi is underground. So we know that there's water in the Gobi and there's water in the Sahara. So we will go back to our Venn diagram. We know that the Sahara and the Gobi has water. Excuse me. So that's the same. So we will put it in the middle of the Venn diagram or double bubble because that's how they compare. The Sahara and the Gobi both have water. So on this part of the Venn diagram, students, we're going to write water. Because the text said the longest river, and we know that river is water. The longest river in the world flows through the Sahara. The text also says almost all of the water in the Gobi is underground. So on my Venn diagram, when comparing the Sahara and the Gobi, in the middle part of the Venn diagram where they compare, I wrote the word water. Let's go back to the text. So we know from the text that they both have water. The longest river in the world flows through the Sahara. Almost all the water in the Gobi is underground. So in the Sahara, we're going to say longest river when we refer to water. So on the side of the Sahara, I wrote longest river. Because the text said, the longest river in the world flows through the Sahara. It says, almost all the water in the Gobi is underground. So I go back to my Venn diagram. When we're talking about water with the Gobi, it is underground. I wrote underground under the side of the Venn diagram that says the Gobi. I'll leave this projected for a few seconds for students to take notes. So students, so far what we did today is we got a text, which is hot deserts and cold deserts. We're using the comprehension skill, compare and contrast, by using the Venn diagram or double bubble. We're going to determine how this text compare and contrast. So we started off talking about the hot and cold deserts. But as we read the text, we realized we were talking about two specific deserts, the Sahara and the Gobi. So then we need to determine how we're going to compare and contrast the Sahara and the Gobi deserts. We went through step by step and filled out this Venn diagram or this double bubble. Let's keep reading. The Sahara and Gobi are alike in many ways. People who raise animals live in each desert. Oh, I keep pausing for students to take notes, or so some students are writing the notes down, and I pause for some students that have questions to send me in questions. Okay, good. We have another student who joined in. Thanks for joining in. Remember, students, if you don't get the notes, you can always log back into the Instagram. Hey, what's up? If you don't get the notes, the students who's just logged in, you can refer back to the Instagram live feed for the next 24 hours to get the notes and catch up on the lesson. Remember, direct message Miss Hardy or Miss Green, your name, if your Instagram live name changed, so you can get credit for participation and live school points. So for the student who just logged in, we're finishing up our lesson. We're comparing, contrasting. We're using the Venn diagram to compare and one second. To compare and contrast this text. When we started reading the text, the title of it was Hot Desert and Cold Desert. But as we read, we realized we were talking about two deserts, the Sahara and the Gobi. We used our Venn diagram and summarized the first paragraph using our Venn diagram to determine how the Sahara and the Gobi compare and contrast, how they are alike and how they're different. So for the students who just logged in, you can refer back to the Instagram live feed to get the notes on compare and contrast. Let's continue. It says, the Sahara and Gobi are alike in many ways. The Sahara and Gobi are alike in many ways. People who raise animals live in each desert. In the Gobi, some people ride camels. So do people in the Sahara. The soils in each desert are similar. Both deserts have sand and rocks. Many people think these deserts are beautiful. So I have a question for the students. This last paragraph, I want you to send me an answer. Hold on, bro. I think somebody want me to slow down. I'm not sure what the student wanted me to slow down. So as we read this last paragraph, it said the Sahara and the Gobi are alike in many ways. When we see the word alike, students, when you see the word alike, are we comparing or contrasting? You can send your quick responses. So when we see the word alike, are we comparing and contrasting using our Venn diagram? You can just type in the word compare or type in the word contrast. So students, we'll be finished in about 5 minutes. The Tuesday, Thursday ELA instruction is from 10 to 10:45. Remember, if you don't get all the lesson, you can log back into the Instagram live feed and watch the lesson. You need to take notes or review the lesson. So this last paragraph says, the Sahara and Gobi are alike in some ways. People who raise animals live in each desert. In the Gobi, some people ride camels. So do some people in the Sahara. The student responded, right. When you see the word alike, we are comparing, telling how they are the same. Good job. The soils in each desert are similar. Again, the word similar, when we see the word similar, we know on the Venn diagram that information is going to go here, how they compare or how they are the same. The soils in each desert are similar. Both. When we see the word both, the word both is another clue word that tells you that in the Venn diagram, we're talking about how the things are alike, how they are the same, how they are similar, how they are alike. The word both. Both deserts have sand and rock. Many people think these deserts are beautiful. So using the Venn diagram or the double bubble, the information that we just used, information that we just got from the text, will go here in the double bubble. It's a lot of information, so I'm not gonna type it in. We have 3 minutes left, so we're gonna wrap this up. So on the Venn diagram or the double bubble, we know we're comparing and contrasting the Sahara Desert and the Gobi Desert. And it says are alike in some ways. People who raise animals live in each desert. So I would take that information and on my Venn diagram or my double bubble, in the part that compare, I will write some people ride camels. Because they said in the Gobi, some people ride camels. And so too, this is another, so too, so do, if I can get it to, so do. That's another way of comparing or telling how two things are alike or similar are the same. So do some people in the Sahara. So on the Venn diagram, we're comparing the Sahara and the Gobi. In the middle part, which we compare, we would write ride camels, because we know that they ride camels in the Gobi, and so do some people in the Sahara. The soil in each desert is similar. So in the middle part of the Venn diagram, we will write the word soil, because we know the soil in the Sahara and the Gobi is similar. So we would put soil here. I know I'm going a little fast trying to finish up this particular text. Both deserts have sand and rocks. Many people think these deserts are beautiful. So there's another word, both, that tells how something two things are alike or similar, have sand and rocks. So here on the double bubble, where they compare, we will write sand and rocks. And it says, many people think these deserts are beautiful. So last, we will write the word beautiful on the Venn diagram, on the area that overlaps in the middle part, which compare. All right, students. So that's it for our Tuesday ELA lesson on Instagram Live. Remember, if you missed any part or have any questions, you can log back into the Instagram Live feed for the next 24 hours and review the lesson. If you have any questions, you can direct message myself, Ms. Green, or Ms. Hardy if you have questions. And also, students, when you change your Instagram Live name, I want you to direct message Ms. Hardy or Ms. Green your new name so you can get credit for participation and live school points. Thank you, everybody, for participation. And students, encourage your classmates to log in to our Tuesday, Thursday class. I agree, Ms. Green.